Well, welcome everyone to the Fader Connections Path of Exile Community Podcast, episode number 54. I lost track. How many weeks are we into the Ultimatum League? I would like to say like 7 or 9, something like that. But the quarterly Gauntlet has already been announced by Zizaran and Vero, and in about a week from now, we'll be all playing in the ultra hardcore event that Zizaran hosts every league. And we're not only going to talk about that, but before that, of course, we're going to talk with our guests about the Ultimatum League, the Trial Master, and everything Path of Exile that comes to mind. And for this episode, we got 2 people who have recently joined the Method Path of Exile team. It's none other than Baker and DS Lily. Welcome. Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing, Baker? You want to talk a little bit about how you've been experiencing this league so far? You played a lot, right?
Yeah. To be honest, this league, since like 1 or 2 leagues now, I'm having the most fun since ages. I don't know why. It's not really the mechanic itself. I don't really care about Ultimatum that much. Like, to be like, okay, we need to farm them, but just enjoying the characters I play and the league itself, just in general. The Atlas changes are amazing. You can farm so many things for yourself. So there's a lot to do always, I feel, which wasn't the case last league, in my opinion. It was basically hay work. That's it.
I find that insanely amazing. Like you're one of the people who plays the game for the longest time. Well, granted, you had like a little bit of a time away in the middle, but like you've been playing since 2012, basically, and just to be so amazed and enthused to play the game still after all this time. Do you think it has something to do with your time away? Do you think that plays a large role in you not being super burned out, or is it? It's also the fact that you've only like recently started to full-time focus on streaming, like last year, right? There was still some studying that you finished.
Exactly. I think the time away was good in some ways, yeah. And like last league, for example, I also quit after like 3 or 4 weeks and went playing last Epoch. I don't know why. It was I was super unlucky with SSF. I never couldn't 6-link anything. I just behind in every way. And maybe that added to it, or maybe it was just ritual in general. I don't know what it was really last league. But then I just take the time away, and I was super hyped this league in the beginning. So I think that's good to take breaks sometimes. And I wouldn't play it right now if I wouldn't, enjoy it. So I think even my viewers are a bit like, can we try another game? No, Path of Exile again. Let's go.
I'm living for the events. Having to play PoE right now without an event on, it's just I don't know how you've been excited about this. It's just the most bored I've been in like 4 years.
Well, I mean, there's an event whenever you make it. You just jump into the game, 120 points for a private league. Bam, there's your event, and just go ham on it, or just reset your SSF progress.
Rip.
SSF.
But yeah, Lily, how do you feel about the whole thing? Do you feel Path of Exile is currently in a good state? Do you think it's like, do you play a lot and do you enjoy playing it a lot, or are you mostly for the events and the competition as well?
I think it's in an okay state. I think people would be a lot better with it if it wasn't basically a modified ritual league that's a bit different. I still don't understand why they released basically the same league twice in a row. Sort of. I mean, it's a bit different, but
and the same Atlas didn't even shuffle.
Yeah. But I mean, even with that, it's still fine. It's not the worst league I've played. I mean, at this point, I am just mostly around for the events. I think I've just been doing practice for the Gauntlet, pretty much. And I played in the Havoc Team Blast. Was that last weekend? I don't even know. Time just mid
I don't
mid
remember the
PoE
time.
League
Was that
time.
last
Just
weekend? But you won.
I did, and maybe I can win something Gauntlet this time too.
I would not be surprised. You're always one of the like top candidates in the Gauntlet until you die.
I am until I'm not.
No, but you always manage to die in the like top 10 overall. Very
you really say
mostly
that?
top 5 or top 3, right?
Yeah, every death I've had in Gauntlet before is because of the LMP mod, and now that's not a thing, so maybe I won't die.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 Oh, true.
They didn't replace LMP, did they? Like, if you wanted to, you could have LMP and Ink AoE.
You could, but well, I don't want to think about that. I have a feeling they will do something like that next time, because I think they're gonna find it's too easy this time.
Yeah, it's definitely largely too easy. I mean, it doesn't have these extreme outliers. I think we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, in general, I think that the state of the game, this league, and the league that this league is, if that was the last league together with the Maven expansion, I think it would have been fine. Like, a lot of people don't enjoy this league as much because it just feels like, I mean, it is between Ritual and Ultimatum. I personally prefer Ultimatum. I don't mind Ritual, but it's like Ritual was just not as witty. It didn't have that interaction with the Trial Master. It didn't have the it didn't. Yeah, true. It didn't have a boss at all. That as well. But I was trying to say it didn't have that feeling of pressure, right? Risk reward, and do I go further? I mean, a lot of people ignore that now. They just go all the way through. But at least in the beginning, on the first playthrough, there's a proper sense of, okay, do I risk all the rewards that I got until now if I have to log, or if I get into a difficult situation? I enjoyed this much more than Ritual, where the reality of Ritual was just like, okay, I just killed the boss. Oh shit, there's like one ritual still remaining. I have to walk all the way back through the map and do that one ritual. Either that, or I open a new map and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't pick my rewards on the last map. That was the two things that happened every time in Ritual for me, and I don't have that this league.
Yeah, it really just feels like it's Ritual 2.0 is the problem. And it is a better version, and I do like it more. But it's so similar. It's so similar in feel that it feels like I'd already played it for 3 months. And it's a better risk reward, and it's a better reward system, and it's actually going to boss, but it really just feels like a better tuned Ritual. And just back to back feels like I've now been 4.5 months playing the exact same league, and now I'm bored. I just don't want to. I want to do it anymore. I want a new league. I think
the pause function is big.
Yeah, it is. It is, but it's just a slightly better version of the same mechanic. It's a much better version, but it's just a better version. I just want, even if they had shuffled the Atlas, I can't get my head over the fact that they didn't shuffle the Atlas. They made a really big deal about a year and a bit ago that they'd develop new tech so that they could basically just push a button and have the Atlas shuffle. And they didn't have to do it all manually anymore, and so they'd be able to shuffle all the time, and then they just chose not to shuffle the Atlas. So I've got a very similar league mechanic and an Atlas that's identical. Just not a lot of new excitement to happen when you do that. And
I feel like they probably were just they were thinking it's enough that they shuffled the Atlas passes.
But like, realistically, Harvest is still the very best place to be. Atoll still makes the most money by tenfold of any other method you could possibly do. There's no reason to be anywhere except at running Atolls all day, every day. Except, boredom, and I don't want to. But it's the same thing. Same thing, same map.
Oh yeah, if you're min-maxing for profit, I'm sure that You know, there's not too much of a difference, and you figure it out quite quickly, and then it's just rinse and repeat. But from an SSF point of view, I'm kind of happy with the options that I have. Like there's different things, like different farming activities that I can engage in, and different strats for early on. Like I like to rush some syndicate stuff and some blight stuff, so I get my blighted maps from my oils, for example. Then of course in trade you would be able to just buy everything.
I'm playing semi SSF, like hardcore trade, with the other 5 people, and I have to say, like, just getting your double corruption is like, okay, let's do like 10 maps, and you have it. Like, there's barely a chance you will fuck it up if you run it in the right area, except if you don't connect the room and can't go there then. But that's another story.
You done that?
So for SSF, I think it's really great how it is now with the passives. Wait, I don't hear you guys.
Well, we didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Because I saw it on stream, they moved. And I'm like,
Have you built yourself a temple and just not connected the room?
I farmed a level 3 gem and level 3 corruption chamber, both at the top where the apex is, and I didn't connect them to the rest. That happened yesterday. So, yep.
I want them to make Hamlet not just like the best zone, at least for SSF especially, because you basically just go in, you farm essences for 20 years, and then you have Harvest too, which isn't as good, but still you take it, and then you get the Syndicate missions as well from doing maps there, so you're like stuck there. Like, I'm probably going to spend upwards of 2 days there in Gauntlet just farming essences for gear for ever.
Mm. Yeah, I can totally see that happen. It's basically the same as last Gauntlet, just spam Haywalk all day, but a slightly different one. Now we get all the essences.
It's all atoll all day,
and some ultimatum farming probably in lower areas, right?
Oh yeah. No, when we're already talking about Gauntlet strats, I definitely also want to do like some corrupted zones early on, because the amount of Valor recipes that you can make from that would help you with getting the corrupted blood jewel, and yeah, I hope that I get a good 6 link from it. Probably won't. Already got bad RNG out of the way though with my practice run, because I got a 6 link, but it was an armor ES base, and I'm playing Trickster, so it was shit. But then I did Valorb recipes, so I had 4 Val orbs and 4 chromatics, so I could guarantee a green socket and hope that the other ones would turn out. I was hoping for 2 green and 4 blue, and I got 2 green and 4 red, and I was mad. But yeah, I guess I need to try a lot. And but yeah, that maybe in Gauntlet I get lucky. Maybe I get an ES evasion base with the right colors, and it will all be great. And in worst case scenario, yeah, exactly. The worst case scenario, it's a divine, and divines are also useful. Although the harvest divines are better. I got so many harvest divines in my practice run. How many trial masters have you guys fought, if I may ask? Baker had a lot. Can't count them.
Like
7?
4.
You had 4?
I haven't really been focusing on it.
I had like 3.
I've been in Gauntlet practice for a long time, so I don't really finish that much there. I got like 4 in like 2 weeks of the regular league though, or something.
You did beat them though, right? Like I died to all 3 that I had.
One
of them hardcore.
All of them except for one. And I like went in with like 6 stacks of rune, and then I was out and I didn't even know what happened.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. Noogie style.
I've done that. I fought about 15, but I've only killed about half of them, maybe 7.
What? Only? Wow. Because of ruin and stuff. It's really a problem of the mechanic, in my opinion. That I mean, it's an upside and it's a downside, but it's like a unique kind of thing in Path of Exile that you get the boss and then it's like now or never. You either fight him now. You can't even go back and change your flask setup. You can't change your jewels. You can't change your character. You can't do nothing. You have to fight him or you leave. It's like take it or leave it.
I like that.
I'm in softcore trade, so I'm playing a 3k life headhunter warb build that clears maps, lightning fast, but it's just not equipped to handle bosses at all.
I'm surprised though, because when you get into the boss, you already did 9 rounds of ultimatums and stacked up a healthy amount of rare buffs, no?
Oh, those don't last. That's intention. By the time you get in there, I can end the ultimatum with 180 headhunter buffs, and by the time you get to fight him, you've got 10. And then they fall off within the first few seconds. It's designed that way. Headhunter does nothing for the fight. If you could temp change yourself still, it would, but that's not really a thing. But it means I've failed half of them because it does a lot of damage, so I don't have to live for long, but it is not a very tanky build.
So you get one tap by everything.
Yeah, if I mess up and I get touched, I'm dead. It's that.
Funnily, my first Trial Master was the one where I got closest to beating him. It was on my CI Death Soul for Cultist. And Energy Shield Recharge is just such a good mechanic. It carried me through the entire fight. So I had like 9 KS, and he just couldn't one-tap me. And I'd always get the recharge, and then Wicked Ward would make it so that most of the time I'd even recharge to full. But my problem was that I didn't have a CB jewel, and when I went in, I had stacked the Razor Blades with CB to 3. And then for some reason, I was like, I don't need a CB jewel. I had one, right? But I didn't need to wear one because I was just farming up levels. But then randomly in a tier 11, I got Trial Master. I was like, fuck, now I don't have a CB jewel, but I got the Razor Blades to 3. But I kind of have to go in because I don't know whether I'm going to see him again for the entirety of the league, so... What are your experiences with the fight, Baker?
I mean, you're tanky as hell, right? In hardcore usually. So I don't know if I even took damage from him ever. I mean, first time I think I didn't realize that, the direction he slams is basically where it's gonna go later or what's happening.
If I may ask the build, which build did you go in with?
The first time was Stormburst Trickster with like 10.5 KES and ES on hit, Watcher's Eye, and basically immortal as long as I hit something. So yeah, I can't really say that the fight is any. I don't know. I'll find out in the Gauntlet, I think, how it will feel.
Oh man, that fight is probably really rough in the Gauntlet. The earthquake with the multiple aftershocks that he does. I don't know whether it's an earthquake, but he does like a slam thing that has like a big AoE and pulsates for a while. That's so big already without increased AoE mods.
True. And then more life and so on early on.
I'm imagining his 3 big slam things with like 70% area.
Does that apply, right? It should, right?
Yeah, gonna have 70% air. I'm just not gonna fight him. I'll be like, oh, it's the Trial Master. Leave. Bye.
But what if he offers you something that you need for your build?
He has nothing for me.
6-link.
Whatever. I'll get a Tabula. You know who doesn't need a 6-link? Dead characters. Remember,
That's true.
I haven't been in hardcore in like a year and a half now.
Oh, it's gonna be so fun.
So I'm not
even
used for it all anymore. And then this is my first Gauntlet ever. I have no idea what I'm going to play. I'm not going to win, but I'm going to hope to get to level 90 without dying, because I have formed some terrible habits. As someone who spent the first 20,000 odd hours in hardcore, I look at my gameplay now and I'm like, those are some bad habits for going back to hardcore. You're going to forget and you're just gonna do the dumb thing, and then you're gonna die. And I
Do you
have no idea.
practice? Or
I haven't yet.
Nice.
Time right. I only decided I was gonna do it today. And now I gotta figure out. I don't even know what
Content
to
right
play.
there.
I don't even know what to play. Like I have no idea. All I know is I don't want to play slam skills or steel skills. I'm not interested in them. And that, as far as I can tell, just rules out every build that works.
All right.
So,
Well, we're already halfway in the Gauntlet talk, then we might as well bring that up. What do you guys think are the strongest picks? Because I have a couple of things in my mind, like a couple of builds where it would be like, sure, like there's some things you could do on Trickster, there's some things you could do on Raider. Champion is the obvious favorite there, because it's a class-based Gauntlet, right? So this time we get to there's 7 different competitions going at the same time as the main race. So where do you think, like, for every ascendancy, what are the best picks? I'll start. I'll do Trickster. I think Cold Dot Slinger into actual Cold Dot is pretty good, but you might have trouble with like some endgame stuff because it's super hard to get a lot of damage. Right? You can do Chaos Dot Trickster. Maybe Bladefall Blade Blast Assassin. I don't know how that would go. Hey Baker, you next.
I really think the pick is like Champion. You said it's the obvious choice, but I think with AOE and especially being melee, might be more of an issue than before.
Okay, elaborate on that. Why do you think is Champ worse than with the LMP?
Because it's harder to get out of the AOE
because you're
now.
not so mobile.
Yeah, that's why I think Raider might be top pick. At least I'll try it because I didn't play Raider this league and everybody's having fun. Now I want to have fun.
I mean, I've heard that from several sides that Raider is like literally the best pick right now in the game. I was 100% assuming. Yeah, I was assuming you would go Raider because you had a really good Bladefall Blade Blast Raider already on League Start, right?
Yeah. I was debating about it, but it is really, really painful to level it. Like even when you get your early gear, it's still really, really bad. Like if you're not on a 6th link, it's pretty bad. I did.
You did level as a lightning trapper, right?
Better to go Toxic Rain.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not good. Like it's definitely still not good. But it's definitely better than Lightning Trap. I don't think it'd be possible to level. I mean, it would be possible to level with Lightning Trap and Gauntlet, but that's gonna be pain.
Just over level 12 levels, easy.
And that's how I was gonna do the whole race. I'm gonna be level 18 before I fight my Veil.
Okay,
so Toxic Rain is really mobile, but the damage will be an issue. That's true, especially later on.
I like Toxic Rain for its top end. I don't like it for Gauntlet because to reach the top end of Toxic Rain, you need to stand still for so long. You need to. I mean, it's not a channeling skill, but you need to lock yourself in position for a while to reach that top end deeps. And I just feel in Gauntlet, I'm more of a hit and run kind of guy. I attack 1 second and then I run around screaming like a little girl for 3 seconds. And
but you can pre-charge.
Oh, you mean, yeah, you can
on some bosses.
Yeah, before you trigger them.
Pre-spam, yeah. That's also a plus, but I haven't tried it, so it's just ideas, dreams.
I maybe need to try a practice run with Raider. Like, I'm used to leveling with suboptimal setups. Like, I don't mind, Act 9 boss fight taking 5 solid minutes, but I mean, if I can avoid it, I would like to. But so Lily, it would be too painful to level. So what's your weapon of choice then? Slams?
I'm gonna go Berserker Slams probably. I still want to try some witch, either DD again. I think going Archmage Cremation might be better now. I don't know how the damage actually is with the Spectre nerfs, but
Yeah.
probably Berserker Slams is the play, because no one even finished the objectives on Marauder last time, and I think the only other person playing it will be Quantric. So it seems I'd probably go that and then re-roll into something, either the Raider Blade Blast or one of the witch builds. It's probably what I'm gonna do.
Oh, so Raider as a second character would be fine. You just don't like it as a
Yeah,
starter.
I
on
just
Gauntlet.
don't want to start with it.
Yeah, that's true. That sounds horrible now that I think about it. Hmm. And then I've seen Balor practice a little bit of Scion. What do you think
Yeah.
Oh my
is the
God.
Scion competition going to be? Because the Scion is a class. I mean, Scion's terrible, but it's still you can play it, and there are people going to compete undoubtedly for the Scion top positions. But do you think that the lead the physical dot slinger thing that you're playing, you think that's better than an Archmage Ball Lightning setup? Because that's what I know is famously good on Scion.
I mean, I think the sling is better in solo self-found. The Archmage thing needs gear. Cheap gear, but gear. That I can't guarantee drops. Foible and things like that. But I'm
Oh,
not
that's
super
true.
experienced with solo self-found, so I don't know. Maybe Foible's more common than I imagine. I've usually got it hidden by day 2. I have no idea how common it is.
Oh, foible is pretty rare. I can go like a month in a league without having a foible drop, I think. But I mean, I'm not like a super fast player by any means. I'm not like going through a whole lot of content during that month. But then again, if you really targeted it, if you put your Elrions into the researches for the unique jewelry and you run your unique heists, maybe you could
Heist?
get one. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about heist in Gauntlet. I died last time I went into one.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Wasn't
wouldn't
even, like-
count on getting foible.
But
Straight
especially
up,
on
nope.
the amulet slot, there's a lot of alternatives. You can use a temple mana amulet. It's not as good as foible, but it's a ghetto foible.
Yeah, so my biggest problem is now I have no idea what I'm gonna actually play. Like I have no idea what stays alive. Like what's if I don't care about coming first, right? And I just want to exist and survive and live all the way to level 90. What do I even pick? What's the go? Like what would be the tankiest thing you could think of?
Probably just champion.
Yeah.
Probably just champion.
Champion.
I mean,
Slams.
technically, I think Herald of Agony Jug this time actually isn't that bad, because there's no LMP. That was the issue with the 4. Is since it's not block based or anything, you just tank every hit, but now it's AoE, so you're not getting hit way more than usual. But I don't know, leveling that would be probably pretty bad. So, but you could just go that and hate yourself the entire way through and not have any sort of fun, and probably not awful.
Hmm. On the champ, you mean, or
No,
On
Horde Jug.
Jug.
on
Power
jug?
Jug.
Oh my God.
I don't
Old
like
school.
I don't like the elemental mitigation that Jug has to offer, like with all the extra damage. And it's really only that one node where you take 8% reduced elemental damage when you're in full endurance charges.
Yeah, but you have Soul of Steel close. And I think it's tanky enough. With the Pantheon.
What about
I mean, that's 100% choice this time, right? AoE.
Or the
Yeah.
50% chance to take, or what is it, 20% chance to take 50% reduced area damage from hits?
Yeah, and then the elemental damage reduce as the first easy unlock. And then the take no 2 crits in a row, basically.
Let me bring that up on the screen real quick. Quick thought. What do you guys think about? Because that's something that people brought up to me as Bladefall, Blade Blast, Chieftain. Because now that we're talking about Marauder builds, we had the Berserker, we had the Jug, but I think Chieftain is a really strong choice for the Gauntlet environment.
I did a video even on it because I was so believing in it for the first Gauntlet, I think. And I played it. And after the Gauntlet, I tried Shaper in Standard because I died, obviously.
I remember that.
Dude, that fight was like, I don't know. Like, getting damage on the Chieftain was so hard. And the leveling with spells is just the worst you can imagine. So I'm not a fan anymore.
I mean, you can level with slams and then get spells later.
Yeah, you could. That's true. I didn't, obviously. So I hated myself all the way to 38, I think. Then it works.
I don't know. Chieftain spells always feels wrong to me. I don't know why. Just feels wrong. I'm ridiculously confused and nervous about Gauntlet. I'm definitely gonna die. Like, how many days is it?
10.
10 days? I'm guessing I'm gonna die about 8 times. I think I'll have nearly a death a day.
90 is the goal, right?
Yeah. I want to at least get to 90.
I mean, to be fair, we had a league once, Boomer League, where we basically had no ascendancy and like a lot of things that weren't allowed, right? And someone leveled to 93 in tier 1 maps. So
Jesus.
it's possible, guys. He was the hero of the league.
And don't progress. Just farm low tier maps.
I'm just saying, if you want to do 90, it's possible in tier 1s. It will take the 10 days probably, but...
That's so weird because I'm normally level 90 by like halfway through day 2 at the latest. If not the end of day 1, if it's a really good league start.
That's impressive.
That's core trade. There's nothing like you're just in tier 14 maps like 9 hours into the league or 12 hours maybe. Like it's not because you've got like 2.8k health, but it doesn't matter. Who cares if you die every like 3rd map? It doesn't matter. Just blast it out. And now I can't do it. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be so weird.
But Bladefall, Blade Blast, what ascendancies would you guys pick as first? Would it be Raider or Assassin?
Yeah,
I feel like
Raider.
the underdog there is Archmage, Hierophant, Bladefall, Blade Blast, or even Necro Archmage. I remember Tanky had a very, very good Archmage Necromancer, Bladefall, Blade Blast. As his, I think it was his league starter.
Okay. Just for the block or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Necro for the survivability. I mean, Hyro would be straight up better for damage, I think. But
I mean, Raider has huge AoE speed. It doesn't feel clunky at all.
Yeah, but Raider has the tricky leveling.
That's
So
true.
for starter, I think you're much better off with a Hyro or a Necro.
Necro also gets the what is it, like 200% cast speed?
Well, we have to consume a lot of corpses for that. I don't know whether you can manage to consume that many corpses in a Bladefall Blade Blast setup.
Usually closer to like 70%, not 200.
But yeah, it does make it feel much smoother.
Yeah.
But that's really nice. Like that's a lot. And you also get, what is it? Like
you get 50? The shock and chill next to your corpses
Yeah, and 50 flat regen plus 4% mana regen whenever you consume a corpse. Plus, like there's a lot going on in Necro.
Yeah, Necro is really good. The question is just, is it going to be better than what Lily said, Archmage Cremation on a Necro? Because Archmage Cremation is like a really, really rock solid build. And then DD is the same as last league, other than that the Harvest monsters got nerfed. So it's the same as last league when you didn't have the Harvest Specters, but you just had the Heist Specters. Because that's what you're gonna use now, right? The Auto Enforcers and Rusty Crushers from Heist.
I think there's some Delve ones you want now or something. I don't know which one. I don't know what it is, but pretty sure.
I heard someone talk about it too, but I forgot what the name was.
Was it the Risen Val Advocates or?
Not
I
sure.
don't know which monsters have a lot of in Delve. But
I think it's the one that screams and makes the screen dark.
That one. That one's super common. That shouldn't be hard to get. I'll have to look that up. Is that really better than the Rusty Crusher?
I think the Harvest guys got all nerfed pretty hard from what I've seen.
They rebalanced it. They don't have like such a huge increase anymore, but they get like
they don't have good flat damage. Flat life, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm still like phasing Onslaught. Ailment Immunity early?
Yeah, Raider.
How can you hate Raider?
I mean, I don't hate Raider. I just don't think See, I think Raider is the top pick. And I don't think I'm top Gauntlet material, so I don't think I can live up to the other people that are going to be playing Raider. Right? I want to pick a competition where I feel like I got a good shot at it.
Oh, okay. That's totally different than my approach. Okay, yeah.
You just want to go for the best thing and do your A game. And you don't care about what other people do.
Yeah, exactly. And not die, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't think I can get number one. Like, I'm not practicing. I'm not putting, like, probably don't have the time to put in that others can do. Or, endurance.
Yeah, I value
Since I played this league a lot already, I don't think I can, go crazy. But I want to have fun in it. Definitely. Do some bosses.
How about you, Lily? You play to win, right?
Yeah, or try to.
Definitely.
Win or die trying.
At least die in the top 5. That's good for me.
Alright. Stone Skin Flares, chat says. It's Stone Skin Flares, which have 800% increased life, which is slightly more than the Rusty Crushers and the Auto Enforcers.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, Lily, passing your dead character on the ladder is a pretty big achievement already. So if you set
whenever I
up
die,
there
it's
again,
like, because even I think last time I died, and I think I was still pretty high up there. That's how it usually is. I die, and then my character's still on the top then for like the next 2 days or something.
that's cruel.
What
do you think it is, by the way, Lily? Any ideas? Did you analyze your deaths or anything?
LMP.
Yeah, it's been LMP every gauntlet. Last time it was cannibals, and I backtracked, which was a mistake, to go pick up a scour orb, and then 3 million fireball projectiles or torch toss hit me, and just even though it was max block, just instantly killed me.
Yeah, those torch tossing cannibals took me out more often than I would like to admit in Gauntlet as well, albeit at lower levels. I had a really good point in my head that I forgot.
Welcome to all the thoughts I have in my head. If I don't say them immediately, they disappear.
Exactly, Lydia. You're really good at playing extremely long sessions and depriving yourself of sleep. Do you think that Oh no, that sounds condescending. When I think you're the racing goddess, right? Like I can't tell you to sleep more. But do you think like a little bit more scheduled out breaks and regeneration phases would help you?
I
It's a
have
tough
been,
line to walk, right? Like you go to sleep,
yeah.
someone else takes over, and if you don't go.
Hello?
Something.
Again. So people can hear you again now, and now they can hear me. It's just somehow the NDI sources crash. Like NDI is that protocol that sends data from one OBS to
streaming
the
PC.
other, right? So I had the sound come over from OBS. Now everything works again. It's just need to quickly, but it's
Do I have
really
to
funny
refresh the stream?
because the faces don't work yet. Faces
Oh, okay,
should work in
okay.
a second.
Yep.
But you can see that in the middle the thing still works, right? Because that's the capture card.
I'm
That's
waving
so
for
weird.
nothing here.
It's
Realized.
so weird. That never happened. Like it's either OBS crashing completely or. Oh yeah.
No,
Okay,
OBS
there we go.
recently had an update, and I've had a lot of issues since. Like one time it said it crashed, but it didn't close, and I just couldn't do anything like with the UI. Like I couldn't change any sources or anything, but I was still live.
I've had that before with it crash, but stream sees everything fine. But you get no notification. You can't change scenes. You can't end the stream. You can't do anything. But stream still
Yeah.
sees everything, so you just continue on.
Yeah, I haven't updated my OBS in a while because I'm always worried that it will break my setup, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to spend like 2 days reinstalling all kinds of stuff because I've been procrastinating for so long on that, but I kind of want to wipe both my gaming PC and my streaming PC because I feel they both would benefit massively from like a complete wipe and fresh reinstall of an actual like updated version of Windows. Because I feel like if you have Windows running for like 2 or 3 years and it updates itself all the time, it just gets progressively worse. Versus
Let's do it
clean,
together,
fresh
man.
install.
I
Let's
can't
do it
update
together?
since 2 months now. I have to reset my PC somehow. Updates don't work anymore. I don't know why.
God. Yeah. See, I want to save up some money for like a new SSD first. But hopefully before next league. Hopefully. Well, what were we talking about? We got cut off in the middle of the conversation. Where were we?
Me sleeping more.
Yeah, well, may not necessarily maybe sleeping, just taking a quick AFK time, getting fresh air, getting blood circulation going, rehydrating, and then coming back. Because do you have a standing desk actually by now?
No,
You should
I
get one.
don't.
That's probably gonna be my next upgrade. Baker, you have one, right?
Sorry, I was
Standing
spaced out.
desk?
No, sadly not.
You also don't have one.
No,
Balor has one, though.
I moved back here and I just bought, the cheapest desk I could find fast because I wanted to get one later. And you know how it is. You keep their system running and kind of. Yeah. But good you mentioned it. Now I'll put it back into my to-do that I'll never look at.
Yeah, it's definitely a couple €100 investment. It's not something that I would do before I do the SSD and the fresh wipe. but I've personally noticed like it's like it just a massive difference, especially when you've been playing for like 16, 18 hours, and then you get to stand up. You don't have these weird moments where you're in the middle of the map and you're like, oh wait, I slept for the last 5 seconds. What happened? Like that's the worst when you get these second sleeps. I mean, at least I'm not a truck driver on the highway, right? So it's only my game, but
You're only driving chat.
Mm,
back
I
to
can't.
Lily diss. It wasn't a diss. I admire the ability. Just to be very clear, I admire how well you were able to play for such a long time. I cannot keep up my focus for that long. If I could, I would
Usually
do
what
the same.
happens is it's usually when I wake up, I don't do anything beforehand. I just go right in. I just jump straight into the game, and that's usually not a good idea.
Oh right, yeah, that's the other kind of rip. Like either at the end of like a 20+ hour session, or when you start up again.
The
Yeah.
last time I did any kind of hardcore racing, I think was Legacy League or somewhere back there. I've got a few demis from hardcore races from way back then when I used to actually do it. And the only time I ever died, the main times, were like 80% of my deaths are in the first half an hour of the new stream. When they're like week-long races, it's the first half hour. Like I get
Really?
up, start stream, and in the first half an hour, you're just not awake enough yet, and you just die. It's almost never at the end due to because you're overtired, and so you're paying too much attention because you're like, I'm really tired. I can't die in this map. I got to read this. I got to read that. I got to pay attention. I got to pay attention. And eventually, you go to sleep. You wake up feeling good, and you don't pay attention.
Yeah. I get you. Because you're getting overconfident because in comparison to the night before, the game seems so much easier. It's so much easier to keep track of everything. Yeah. No, but for me, it's usually the opposite. It's like in the end of the day, I'm like, oh man, this build is shit. I almost died. I shouldn't go into these high maps. My character's not cut out for that yet. I should go down a couple of tiers. And then when I wake up and I go into the game, I'm like, wow, this build is way better than I remember it. It's like if you're actually pressing the right buttons at the right time, you're cruising. and, but yeah, it's hard to get back into the exact same rhythm of playing the build. Agree with that.
I always start with lower maps though when I start my stream. Coffee time, talking a bit.
Yeah. Just
And low
spamming
maps.
some lowy maps. The lowest one, either
or
lowest
easy
yellows
maps at
or
least,
yellows,
white
lowest
maps
white,
or whatever.
just generate master missions.
Yeah.
Are there any builds that we haven't mentioned yet that are good choices for the Gauntlet? Especially in respect to, I mean, there's several races going on, right? There's also the race to first Atziri. Do you think any of the builds that we mentioned?
Trap. Mine, sorry.
Yeah, miners are really good for Atziri, but I think one of the top Atziri kills, one of the last times, was Pack doing some armor brand cremation elementalist, right?
That's
with
generally a
stacking.
great leveling build. And Atziri is easy enough to be done early, but I don't think that the build will hold up later on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It's like a separate race. You're either going for the first Atziri or you're going for the long-term race.
But Atziri with 70% area, I don't even know if you can hide. I don't even know if you can not
get Storm Blast.
I think you have to take a Flame Blast to the face.
Or you just have to have a portal up and log out.
Yeah?
Just do everything else without logging beforehand.
And one-shotting. That's why I said mines, actually, because I think one-shotting the phases is a big plus.
Yeah, you one-shot the phase and then hit the logout button so that you don't get hit by Flame Blast.
I don't think the persons that are playing a build that they can get to the point that they can one-shot the phases are the persons competing for the first Atziri kill, though. I feel like when you're competing for the first kill, you always go in before you're able to insta-phase, right?
I think mines can still with pre-mining, basically.
Yeah, no, might be able to. I don't know.
At least I think so. But I'm talking here
Well, I
like
played a purifying
old
flame
strats,
miner in the
probably.
Badgers private league, right? Badgers private league, not this last one, not BPL 4, but BPL 3. I played a purifying flame miner early league, and my goal was to farm at Ziri. And when I reached at Ziri, and when I felt like I had to go in, I did not have enough damage to insta-phase. But maybe my build was just bad. Maybe I just made some mistakes, or I didn't have any blatantly obvious goals for the gear progression. I might have not had a 5 link at the point or something like that. But I specifically went with the Purifying Flame Miner because I knew that was going to be a good bosser. And I definitely had some problems with the first couple of series that I did on that build.
Do you have like a to-do list that you kind of cross off on a first character, Lily? Asking for a friend?
Depends what build you're playing, because in Gauntlet it's pretty like hyper specific to what you should be doing. Like typically it's probably get your early syndicate veiled crafts done. I know Steel Mage will sit in Quarry and do that. I don't go that far. I like to ignore it, but that's probably not a good thing.
Wait,
And then
how
Yeah,
many
you have a
syndicates
very
do you
unique
get in
approach.
Quarry?
Sorry.
No, do you please?
you only get one thing in Syndicate for Quarry, like one. I don't know what to call it. What would you call that?
One encounter per
Yeah.
zone instead of 3. Yeah, and then it's also random. Like, you have to spam probably like 10 quarries to get one encounter, right?
Yeah.
But then quarry is really nice to spam, and the ultimatum's really easy to find there, and you do those.
So I'm not 100% sure on the details, but I know that there's a way to guarantee syndicate spawn in Foothills over and over again.
What?
But only if your first character in a league.
Guaranteed?
Mm-hmm. Saw it earlier this league. Somebody was doing it. Someone linked me to the Reddit thread. I read it, but now I can't remember. There was a specific way to do something where you could just have it. Because you know how the first spawn is guaranteed in Foothills the first time? Like, you will get one when you get to Foothills.
Is that not in the desert map? In the
maybe
Bastiri Desert is the guaranteed one. Maybe it's in
Wherever
both zones, I don't know.
there's a way to make it spawn there over and over and over again. And that's where people should be farming it.
The only way that I could imagine doing that would be by not completing the encounter. So maybe if you have like a multi-member encounter that you only talk to like 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 2, and then you reset the zone. And then because you didn't complete the encounter, that it would spawn again.
I honestly can't remember. I wish I remembered because I'm sure it would be very useful.
But it's not guaranteed that you get more than one member. Like, a lot of times your first encounter will be only one syndicate member. Fortification with like just Janus in there.
Maybe it was
I
something
feel like it's usually one. I don't know if you can guarantee it, but there's like a load screen trick you can do. I'm pretty sure, which will let you know if it's in there. I don't know the details on that because I don't deal with it.
Like the old school frame time kind of things.
Yeah.
You just like zone in and you just see from the graph whether it has the extra content or not. That's something that's worth looking up. I mean, we're not going to find it right now during the podcast, but that's something we should be looking into. Ailment immunity. How important do you think is ailment immunity? Do you want to get that on every build? Do you want to get that? I mean, specifically on CI setups, you kind of want it eventually permanently, but you want it on every build permanently, right?
Ideally.
Yeah, I don't see a build where you wouldn't want to. I don't know if I feel like it's easier or harder now, because you can do Ashling slamming and get a better version, or like you can get like 50% on your chest or something.
True.
But the actual craft is lower, so.
But doing Katarina early.
Yeah. You can use the Veiled Chaos too and maybe get lucky.
Oh, I
True.
blew so many exalts away this league trying to Veiled Chaos with prefixes cannot be changed on my scepter. Because I had a scepter for my summoner with minion double damage mod and like no free prefixes, only free suffixes. I always like whenever I had 2x, I was like, okay, this time we're gonna get trigger. And then prefixes cannot be changed. Veiled Chaos, damn, didn't get trigger. Always got shit suffixes. But the thing is, on a summoner, I really needed the trigger from the unveil. I couldn't have crafted it because the offering base duration is 5 seconds, and at like 50% increased duration from Necro, and had no intention of picking up more increased duration, and so I only had 7.5 seconds duration on the offering effect. So 8 seconds trigger cooldown won't cut it.
Mm.
And there would always be like 1 second downtime.
That's not true.
What do you mean?
Well, it's a 5-second base, increased by a significant portion per extra corpse that you have.
That's true, that's true. It's bigger, yeah.
Your minimum
Oh.
duration on an offering is actually 12 seconds. On a necromancer, you never needed trigger craft. You could just have it crafted. 8 seconds is more than enough to keep offering up all the time.
Rip
Damn.
exalts.
Yep.
Thanks for setting me straight and calling me out on that. Ah, well. No, I was also hoping for other good suffixes, right? There's also the Unveil suffix with minion cast and attack speed. That would have been also good.
Yeah, that's really OP, that one. I like it.
Particularly because the Unveiled ones are numerically so much stronger than the crafted counterpart.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's also the Abyss Jewels now. You can get like single ailment things on the Abyss Jewels. I've been looking at different variations of how you can do the Trickster tree. Like if you go into Raider Start, you could be picking up the entire Crystal Skin cluster. That's like a lot of avoidance. There's like 10% avoidance on the Elemental Focus node that's in Shadow Start. You can get the Arcane, what is that? The Shield cluster also has 20% avoidance. You can get like almost 100% on tree alone.
On my Trickster, I actually went for the Abyss Jewels, as you said. 20% freeze and chill, and 20% shock.
Yeah, you even can have 2 of those on one Abyss Jewel if you're lucky. You can have freeze, chill, and shock and life on an Abyss Jewel, for example.
Yeah, but that's really nearly impossible. I tried crafting those because I didn't want to waste 2, and then in the end I got lucky and got, phasing or something else that you wanted on one of them. So it was okay. But yeah, it's a good option to fill it up if you don't have Shaper Boots or something like that, right?
True, Shaper Boots are also a good option, but it's like, hard to get the base.
Yeah, just elevate
RNG.
them.
You also can't guarantee like a craft with Harvest now on it, which is going to be a lot harder to get the actually good ailment boots with Shaper, because before you could just wait for an augment and then slam it on guaranteed if you had the corresponding resistance anyways.
All right. You could guarantee the ailment avoidance?
Yeah, if you had the Shaper boots and you had like
Free prefix, right?
I think you need at least one resistance, and then you slam on the same resistance, and then it would give it to you. But there's something else you had to make sure you didn't get, like burning ground avoidance or something. I forgot what
full
you
prefixes.
had to do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, full prefixes and already one elemental resistance, and then just aug that element on again. It was fine.
Okay. Oh, it's a suffix. Right.
Mhm.
Thought elemental ailment avoidance was a prefix.
No.
Now
Only on the chest it's a prefix.
Oh, and
everywhere
on
else is
everything
suffix.
else is suffix. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's still hard to craft boots because ideally you don't only want the ailment avoidance, but you also want 30% movement speed and a good life roll. Or ES mods even. That's even worse. Oh, if you have to craft ES Shaper boots.
I don't know if I'm the only one, but I feel like the amount of time we have in Gauntlet will not cut it for this kind of gear for me. Like, I have to get insanely lucky, so I'm not gonna count on it, I feel.
No, I wouldn't expect a decent Shaper boot base.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the luck to craft good boots from that.
Yeah. I mean, you have the influence changes, right? So any boots you drop from a Conqueror might work in the end.
True.
And you get them quite often, I feel.
The
Like
influence
I'm already
changes.
not even saving them anymore.
But you have to engage with harvest, and it's like that. I always feel.
I died to only harvest lately. I don't know why.
Yeah. Even in the non-gauntlet leagues, I died so hard to harvest. Like harvest monsters are so insanely rippy, and the problem is that now that it doesn't tell you. Like you don't know what monsters you get out of a plot of harvest seeds.
Yeah.
So it's like surprise, and you get.
But it's still better with AoE than with prot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All this talk has just convinced me I'm going Raider. I want my Ailment.
Told you, dude.
I mean, if you're only going for 90 and you're not going for the bosses, I think Raider is indeed probably the best choice.
I've not ever played one of those Archmage Raiders. Can't be that bad.
I mean, if you're
Can't be
planning
that
to
bad.
go slow and steady while leveling anyway, then
Yeah,
it should be fine.
I'm
Like,
happy to not be first and to overlevel zones and farm some ultimatums for gear and stuff. It should be fine.
I mean, I think it should even be fine on a 4-link if you just farm a level 18 Toxic Rain gem pre-Kitava.
Yeah, just level as Toxic Rain, change into Archmage when I got some gear.
I haven't
That's
tried it. People told me, though, it's really easy while leveling to reliably generate a 5-link bow from ultimatums.
Oh, I've seen so many, yeah.
Yeah, super easy. You could definitely walk out of Blood Aqueducts with a 5-link if you wanted to stop there.
Level 19 Blood Aqueducts. Let's go.
Probably doable. But also gross.
And Hoag Jug. Top. Best experience to not play the game for a year after.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Not doing that. We'll do Raider. Raider's fine.
I'm wanting
Definitely.
to play some Herald of Agony recently. Been itching because it's been so long that I played Hoag Jug, but I don't think I can get myself to play Herald of Agony on anything else but Occultist. 'Cause
That's
then
what I
you get
wanted
the
to ask.
explosions.
What happened to the Occultist version? I remember it being super fun. Like at least seeing other people do it with Rain of Arrows and like even CI? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've seen Lily play that build at least once.
Yeah, I played it a while ago. That was
long
like
ago,
after
right?
it was already nerfed, though.
Definitely
It was kind of
pre-harvest.
scuffed.
Yeah. Oh, that must be a cool build.
Like this before.
But now it's also buffed, right? Like it's actually. Someone
Is
said
it?
I've not seen a wilderness like this before.
You could hear that?
Yeah.
You should not be able to hear that, my bad.
What did I want to say? But Profane Bloom has been buffed in the meantime, so that's always been like since that buff where they brought up the explosion chance on Profane Bloom from 25 to 40%. I've been looking to get into some occultist minion build, but I couldn't really decide which one. Herald of Agony seems like the most feasible variation, but I was thinking melee skeletons maybe even. But then it's always when you're playing a witch with summons, then you're like, oh, but I could go Necro instead and get the juicy +2 gem levels and get block and everything.
Yeah, Necro's probably better, but more boring.
The solution is obvious. Play a minion build that you can't scale the gem level off. Because without that +2, Necro's not that good.
So you're saying I should play with the Phantasm stuff? Phantasm
Yep.
stuff?
What about
Or-
Guardian?
I feel that's too dependent
Minions?
on cluster jewels.
Yeah, probably. Dude, Cluster Jewels SSF, I forgot.
recently, 2 days ago, 1 day ago, Carve put out a video of farming cluster jewels in solo self-found. He spent like 4 hours and had a quad tab full of them. I haven't watched the video yet, but I've seen the thing, and that's definitely how we get cluster jewels.
I think he
Will
just
it be the right
he,
one?
he ran his Delirious maps that he saved up from the entire league, I think. He had like maps that dropped with the Delirium layers on top from the other zone that he saved up. It's not something that you can easily replicate within like a day or two, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And then on top, you need the right amount of passives, and I hope they rework them a bit for SSF. I don't know. I'm not a big fan how they work at the moment.
Just like they're so balanced against the abuse cases where you have the perfect setups that they're almost not worth it to invest into. You don't go full all out on it.
Yeah. Rolling them alone is crazy, usually.
See, they were balanced the wrong way, in my opinion. They should never have been nerfed as much as they were, or made as hard to roll.
Yeah.
What they should have been done was every keystone limited to 1, and every type of jewel limited to 1. So you couldn't have a 12% lightning jewel in 2 different places, like a 12% large. But you could have a lightning on one side and a cold on the other, but they couldn't share a notable either.
I heard recently a suggestion in my chat was just limit large ones to 1. Large ones limited to 1. You can only put 1 large in your entire build.
So the reason I like my way is because some builds sometimes would have enough notables that were worth it and better than the tree that you would have 2 full setups or even 3 full setups. Other builds would only be able to find, 1 set of notables that were better than what's on the tree. So there would be, only 1 setup in those. And without doing that, realistically, at least when it comes to softcore trade, every build looks one of 3 ways, and they all look like mirrors of each other. Because if you don't go and get double cluster setups, your build is just weak. Like, it's just weaker than it should be, because double clusters is the best. And so every build looks like that. Whereas if they were limited my way, then it would be more diverse, not so obvious.
Well, I mean, it would still be visually the same. You'd just be using different types.
Well, no, because a lot of builds wouldn't even want a double cluster setup.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
As you only want 1, your tree can look 8 different ways. Or
You could have like a lot of builds have overlaps, right? Like on an Archmage build, you could have 1 with spell damage and 1 with lightning damage.
Yeah. So some would still have 2, and a few would even still have 3, and some would only have 1. And at least all the notables would be different. I don't know. I just don't think they should stack. I never thought they should stack. From the day they came out, I've been saying these shouldn't stack. It's the best way to balance them. But
yeah, it seems kind of silly that notables do stack. But without it, like, it wouldn't provide as many interesting options, especially for builds that use them to pick up scaling that they can't reasonably reach in the tree. Like, what always comes to mind was my like chaos damage over time juggernaut that I did during Delirium League, which was, completely on the opposite side of all the chaos damage nodes in the tree, but was able to compensate with cluster jewels.
yeah.
Lily, would you pick a build that has an extensive need for cluster jewels in the Gauntlet?
So the build I want to play doesn't have an extensive need, but there is a jewel I want for sure. Or 2, potentially 1 or 2. I need either the exerted medium jewel or the large mace and scepter one. And I'm not really looking forward to that because I'm either gonna hopefully get lucky or I'm gonna have to farm heist. And there's a thing you can do apparently, which is you complete all of the quest heists except for grocery list, and then in there's the delirium jewel
Best?
what's it called, chest, and if you don't finish it, it'll keep dropping.
Yeah, so basically like resetting the first heist, but then later one.
Yeah.
But then you have to do all the how much heist progression is there?
I think there's like 20 or
Ah,
something. It's bad.
Ugh.
because you have to stay in low level for that entire time, so you don't generate like high level quest heists, right? If you were to go into red maps, then you would get like red map level quest heists.
Not sure how that works.
No, I think it always drops off the level that you're in. So like the quest
That would just
heists.
run white maps, even if you're over leveled, right? If that was the case, like you don't have to stay low level. You just be like, all right, now's the time where I need a jewel. I'm just gonna go back and run white maps until I farmed.
True. You don't need to stall yourself
Yeah.
because you could always just discard the high level quest heists that you have and toss them out and then go into lower zones and spam the Zana heist option. Although, how much do you need to unlock that? It's gonna take a while. Probably just fortune favors the brave. I really like Zana's heist. Like the 2 additional smuggler's caches is really juicy. But yeah, I think I agree. I would like to avoid farming heist if I can.
I'm avoiding it
ideally,
in a
I just
regular.
get lucky.
Sorry, I didn't catch either of those. What do you say, Lily?
Ideally, you just get lucky and get what you need, but I think in Gauntlet, there's not really. I don't think you can avoid heist, unfortunately. Kind of stuck doing it on a lot of builds, anyways.
That doesn't sound great.
Well, yeah, I guess people want it for the catalysts, right?
Yeah, probably catalysts and oils and the what's it called? Something else I can't think of, but like doing metamorphs probably not a great idea. So heist is gonna be where you get them, or doing low level metamorphs would be fine too. But you still might just get one shot if you put the wrong things in by accident.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my approach with metamorphs in Gauntlet is I always do them anyway because I need the map drops, right? I'm like, I kind of want to do the metamorph, but then I try to only pick like 1 or 2 things from the rewards that I want, and everything else I go with the lowest, widest kind of organ that I can put in there, and I never hit the bar for the organ drop. But I always do the metamorph. Like there's no way I'm gonna leave the map without doing the metamorph most of the time.
That's going to be one of the things that get me. I'm just going to open a metamorph and my default is going to go straight down the left-hand side and just hit launch and not even look.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to happen. And then a metamorph's going to pop out. It's going to insta me and I'm going to be like, oh no.
Some nice backburn. Some torch tossing. How many torch toss mods are there on Metamorphs? There's backburn, there's the other one. So terrible. One of them is the worst. Like this barrage of torch tosses that always gets you instantly. Never metamorphs in shore map. It's always cannibals in shore map. Ooh. Well, so not that. What are other important strats? We talked about the importance of ailment avoidance and how we can't really get around that, but how it's easier to get it. Because it's not LMP. You guys think block is less important than it is in other gauntlets? Block and dodge are not as important as actual reducing mechanics, because you're not going to get hit a whole lot, but you are probably less likely to avoid getting hit.
I feel like it's still going to be pretty damn important. Like it's pretty important in the base game.
That's true. I'm gonna go Trickster, probably. Most likely. Lists. Atlas progression. Can you guys talk a little bit about Atlas progression? What are your hot strats? Can someone explain? I mean, I think I know what it is, but like, someone explain the current leapfrog meta strat? Like I'm 5, because I want to know whether I get that right. I think a lot of people want to hear that. How do you approach the Atlas? So you first enter the Atlas, right? You try to rush your tier 3s in every zone to get your citadels. Your first tier 5 is your first Maven boss. And you're gonna try to reach the outsides, like Ajoris and Lyra and
Hayward.
Hayward is the top left. What's the bottom left?
Vestiaire.
Brain fighting right now. Oh yeah, New Vestiaire, right? So those for the Conquerors. So after you fought all the Conquerors on the outside zones, how do you progress? You put your Watchstones into the middle ones, right? Do you socket them all at the same time? Is there like a certain trick with not socketing them all?
My understanding is as soon as you get the first one, you put the one stone in a center area.
Right.
And as soon as you get 2 more, you then drop 2 in the one after that. And then as soon as you get 3 more, you drop 3 in the one after that. As soon as you get 4 more, you drop 4 in the last zone in the middle. And then you do all 4
instantly went into red maps basically for that.
Yeah, you do 1 on the outsides and for all 4 for your first 4. And then you start on the single stone one. That's generally I start with Trin's End because just going clockwise makes sense to me. And you do all 4 Conquerors there at 1 Watchstone. And then you move to Lex Proxima and do all 4 at 2 Watchstones. Then you move up to Valdo's Rest, all 4 at 3. Then up to Glenclans and do all 4 at 4. Like it's pretty much exactly like that. It's extra worth because of the adjacent maps dropping thing. It gives it just gives extra adjacent maps. So it's better than the way I was doing it and the way my written guide was. I've got to change that because I like the leapfrog stuff way better. It also lets you complete Maven relatively quickly.
Cairns is probably good to farm too. The valuable items from Invasion tends to be pretty good. I mean, yeah.
I'm muted on stream, Cat.
I muted myself on stream. Unbelievable. Yeah, it always happens when I type. Damn. So I was asking about things to rush in terms of Atlas passives. I mean, you guys heard the answers, so you were probably able to figure that out. Yeah. How about Alvas in Glenak? Is it worth it to chase like a 21 Val gem in Gauntlet? If I'm playing like a build, say I'm doing Cold Slinger and I have a Val Cold Snap, is it worth it to level Cold Snaps and to go for a 21 Val Cold Snap in tempo? It's super unlikely to hit it.
I mean, I'm not sure. It seems like, I mean, if you can get enough temples easily, then maybe. But if it's super out of the way, maybe not.
Well, I heard that Incursion is really, really good for map sustain because it does add so many blue and rare monsters to your map.
Yeah, early on it is really good, especially now with this league. There's something weird going on with map sustain early. I feel like I don't know, I was stuck in white maps for forever for some reason.
It takes so long to
think
break into yellows.
Yeah, so I think you're gonna have to do Temple at least somewhat, try and break out of white maps and then keep sustaining. I don't know, I'm worried about that, like, because usually you just want to roll your maps blue for Gauntlet, but that feels really, really bad this league, at least early, especially. So I've been just, my practice run, I've been blowing through, like, Alks and Scours, just trying to roll them with no damage mods.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when you get that one, like, this is my one high, whatever, like, this is my only tier 5 right now, and I want to, like, invest maximum into that, so I put all my chisels, I want to roll it rare, I want to put my only Zana mission on there, so I get stuff, and can be really scary. Do you do that for Conqueror maps as well? Do you roll them at all, or you think it's not worth it to risk? I mean, you can roll them blue with, like, no rippy mods, right? Like, stuff that doesn't
Yeah.
affect you. Be Chaos Slinger and roll LA Equilibrium or something like that.
Usually I'll chisel and roll them blue with 2 like useless mods that do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That would be my approach there. Just wondering. But Alking seems like such a bad call because there's so many mods that make Conquerors like almost undoable, and I feel like Baron in particular is so scary already with Ink AoE and Turbo because it's so hard to get away from him when he starts his animation and he throws these circles.
I was thinking about them earlier, and I'm like, Veritania's should be a lot easier than it was in the past. But Flags, Big G, and Baron should be a lot harder. Because Ink AoE. Whereas, like,
You mean
Veritania.
Drox, you said Baron, but you meant Drox because you said Flags.
Oh, yeah. Yep. The Flags, dude, should be a lot harder.
I mean, the Flags that he calls down that deal AoE damage on impact.
Yeah, they already have quite a bit of area. 70% on that is actually a lot. And there's actually no visual indicator for how large those flags hit. But if you add 70% to them, I'm pretty sure they overlap and you could get hit by 3.
Oh, they do overlap, absolutely. Oh, you mean by 3? Okay, overlap, like, even...
I'm pretty sure you'll get hit by 3 of them. If you can. And that'll be very rough.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of people die to that. At least the ones like can influence maps, like not his arena, but like when you're just mapping and there's Drox influence, like if you're on a build that doesn't have good fizz mitigation, I can see a ton of people just getting one-shotted by them because they're so huge now.
I remember when Ziz died like that in one Gauntlet. The clip was called Flagged for Deletion. But Hunter is going to be a pleasant change. Hunter is going to be so easy. There's going to be Resident Sleeper boss fight.
Without multi-prod, yeah.
Trying to think, is there anything scary with the AoE? Hunter is always so... I feel like I never get hit by him until the phase with the snakes in the middle, and then I just run circles until the phase ends, and then back to...
Oh, God. You just made me realize I'm going to have to do the phase with the snake in the middle. I haven't done that in leagues. Well, softcore league start builds just have enough damage to never see that phase, even on day 1. I'm not even sure I remember what that phase looks like.
It's gonna be a fun league, my friend.
I'm gonna die to so many things.
Oh man, I definitely need to see the Maven fight before the actual Gauntlet. I need to see the Maven fight with Ink AoE. Has anyone seen any Maven with Ink AoE yet? Other people's streams? I can't really imagine it. Might be so bad with the random bosses. I mean, the random boss phase in Maven is already kind of super RNG depending on what map bosses spawn. But then there might be... I mean, I'm sure there are some that benefit massively from the Ink AoE.
Yeah, at
Nice
least there's no.
Vol with the slams.
At least you're not going to get the reflect one anymore, though. Like,
Yeah, true. They took that out. And I mean, no AoE overlap from projectiles. I feel like that it's really great with the projectiles. It will probably not feel like an actual gauntlet because of the lack of LMP one-shots, but it really takes out most of the actual bullshit in the game. The stuff where you're like, okay, that's super stupid.
And probably a good first gauntlet to be getting into.
Hey, it's your actual first gauntlet? You never played one?
Yeah, I've never been any. But it feels like it's going to be easier than normal. Still much harder than the normal game by a long shot. But this feels like it should be easier than the last gauntlet was.
I feel like outside of the fact that it's going to be permadeath, you're going to enjoy it a load. Because, I don't know, I feel like the game feels so much more engaging with those hard mods, other than LMP. LMP has always been kind of a bullshit mod, but I really enjoy it when monsters don't instantly die, specifically bosses with a 40% increased life. Just makes it feel like more of a combat game. I mean, I know combat is not PoE strength. You try to avoid actual combat as much as you can, but
I try.
Let me bring up the topic list. Already covered a lot of ground. Sure, there's some things that we just blatantly forgot to mention.
I don't think so.
It's an official event. We can hype that up a little bit. For those people in chat who don't know and who were like in previous gauntlets, oh, I'm never gonna get in and I don't want to take away a spot from the people who are actually going to compete. If you just want to play for fun, it's gonna be an actual event in the game. It's not a private league. It's not limited to like 2,000, 5,000, or 10,000 player slots, but anyone can just, with the press of a button, join in and play the gauntlet. I think that's gonna be a huge service to the game community. A lot more people are gonna get a taste of Gauntlet.
Surely there's going to be a lot more people playing because of that.
I hope so, because they always hit the limitations. Like even when it was 10,000, Gauntlet was full after a while.
Yeah. And there'd be a lot of people that didn't join for that exact reason. They're like, I'd like to try it, but like people are gonna really, really compete, and I don't want to take one of those spots. But now there's unlimited spots. So that should be good.
I wonder how many people are gonna like either new players or just someone randomly coming in, not know what Gauntlet is, and then see it in the list and click it and like try playing the game like that and just
new player just like, oh, a Gauntlet event. I don't know what this is, but I'll join it. Get fucked. Oh, that would be very rough. Oh Lord. There's definitely going to be some people too. Do you think they get off the? I don't even think they get off the coast. Like new people who aren't expecting it, they don't even get off the coast.
Nope.
Especially the start of melee character. Like who's going to know to do the little like hit move, hit move, hit move, hit move, hit move thing?
I have to admit, I do that now on every character. It's just basic now for me after the gauntlets.
I still just face tank everything.
Of course, yeah. That's how I did it before, of course.
Even the Scion can just face tank. You can face tank it with auto attack and still live normally. That's not gonna.
If you don't,
that's not gonna fly.
You don't go crazy on your flasks.
Yeah, just manage them properly. It's fine. You can kill it on any character with auto attack by standing still.
Managing flasks in softcore? What?
I mean, only on
Hillick.
Hillick.
Slam the keyboard all the time.
From after Hillick, then you slam the keyboard forever.
Okay.
Until then, I do on the first zone manage flasks just so I don't have to move. yeah, that's definitely going to catch a few people. And I'm guessing there's going to be 25 to 30,000 people that join the Gauntlet. Like significantly more than before. And that probably 20 odd thousand of them will quit on day one and not come back. It's,
I wonder now that it's a GGG event. Well, it's not, but it is. If they'll like release stats or anything about it now, like how they do stats posts for the normal leagues. I wonder if they'll do it for the Gauntlet.
that would be very cool. It'd be great to know how many people died in what zones.
Oh yeah.
That'd be very interesting. With it being an actual event, does that let us track anything we couldn't track before? Because like Private League still got announcements for like, first to entering places and whatnot, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't think that changes anything. I think you could do
No.
all that
We
in
don't get anything
Private
special out of
League.
I'm just trying to think of what else that implies. But I think realistically, all it means is that everybody gets in for free and nothing else really changes. Still cool though, but yeah.
I think it's amazing. Like, there's so many people. Like, I mean, I don't know what the actual numbers is because I never look at the PoE directory when I play Gauntlet, right? Like, maybe I take like one look every 16 hours or so. But I feel like Zizran and Steel and like all the top dogs have so many thousands of people watching, and out of those thousands of people, there's always going to be someone who's like, hey, I want to try that. Maybe not for the competition. Maybe I just want to get a taste of how it feels like to play with these mods. And the ability that everyone actually can do that without inhibition, without like those layers of, oh, I have to apply and I have to ask kindly that they approve me and that I have to throw points in and I have the responsibility of deleting my
muted,
character.
bro.
And
You're muted.
oh, I'm muted for you. I was not muted on the podcast. Wow, how did I mute myself in here?
For them apparently.
What? I was
Or
muted.
trolling us.
No, chat is trolling us.
I didn't
I was
know,
not
honestly.
muted, dude.
I
You're the
didn't
only
know.
one that could tell. Because we
I
always
was
hear
just
you.
a messenger.
I thought you guys were telling me that I was muted in your Discord. I thought you couldn't hear me. Oh god.
Got him.
Nice. Well, anyway. Yeah, I just think it's great that everyone gets to jump in and try it without like feeling pressure to do certain things. Well, if there's anything you want to still talk about in regards to Gauntlet, then this is the time to bring it up. Otherwise, I'd like to do a quick round and talk a little bit about builds that you guys are hyped or what you've been playing, anything. Because we spent the last 2-3 podcasts being very critical of the league mechanic, of the state of the game, of Ultimatum, the Atlas endgame state and stuff like that. But we haven't really taken the time to talk about what is really like cool and fun to play at the moment, maybe even outside of Gauntlet. Any super interesting builds that you guys played? I mean, I know that Baker played that Stormburst Trickster, and I've seen people play Stormburst a lot.
Fireburst. I thought I'll stay with the burst skills this league. Fireburst is hilarious.
Fireburst is completely new this league.
Yeah. It's not new, but it got buffed the hell out of
It's
it.
new
Like, it's
on
kind
the-
of
on
new.
the-
Yeah.
On the menu of builds that you can play, but like
True,
Fireburst
yeah.
itself was there.
It's hilarious, honestly.
What's the
It's a cool
requirement?
build.
You just need the essence of horror. was it?
Hysteria.
Hysteria.
Mhm.
And then, is there any other things that you need to hit when you use the essence on
No.
Bow is what people use.
Ideally, you want to null down to 2 suffixes, right? Fire burst and something else. Then cannot roll attack, slam exalt, get +1, and multimod. It's like super easy to make in reality. I know a lot of people made a shit ton of money with, just crafting and selling, but it's in reality super easy to make yourself.
Yeah, I mean, in the Havoc Blast, I mean, that's a 2-day event. Well, I mean, more like 1 day, 'cause it's 2 12-hour segments, and that's what Steel is doing a Fire Burst build, so it's not hard to get started. I mean, you do lack damage, though.
Yeah, I mean, even in SSF, I think I crafted nearly everything myself, but it's still trade. I could get chaos or whatever I need. Transferred currency wise. But I think in SSF to make it really strong would be pretty hard. If you want to go with the all elder stuff and all out basically.
But you don't need that much to get going.
No. Not at all. It's really I think it might get a nerf next league. It's like a bit too easy, I feel.
Does it do quite enough single target though?
Oh yeah, once you have the awakened gems and your clusters going, you're flying.
And what's also really great about it, I guess, is that the skill is provided on the bow, so you don't need to link the sockets. You just have a 6 socket, and all the support gems affect the first skill.
Takes the RNG away a bit. In SSF, I mean, for example. Like awakened gems obviously make a huge difference because you get like +3 from your bow. A lot of people are focusing on the wrong things playing the build. So what I've seen in my stream, by the questions. So everybody's like, oh, I need an Elder Combs. But the basics comes totally different.
Oh man. Elder Combs, that's not a real huge improvement. You just get the Elder mod, so that Blasphemer's Grip gives you another multiplier, right?
Yeah, it's the multi, and the non-damaging ailments is huge in the end.
Non-damaging ailments? But non-damaging
because you have shock
because you shock
and
as
chill.
well.
Yeah.
You play where do you get
play
the shock
that
and chill from?
elementalist.
Okay, that's why.
And you convert your chills to shock. Sorry, your shocks to chill with the cluster. Wait, confused now, but either way, you have everything basically burning for the multiplier, and then you get the non-damaging as well. For single target, it's big.
Right. I didn't even think about that. That never occurred to me, but you just said the really big thing, because awakened gems have awakened support gems have a lower amount of max levels. That means the plus levels are so much bigger on them.
Yep. That's what I've seen, like looking at a lot of builds. But they totally forget that that's way more important than any elder item. And the basics you get really fast, like a ring or amulet or boots. That's easy to craft, right? I even made a different version because I went with Cyclopene for the immunities. And I think it might be the best, cost versus what you get over crafting like crazy belts.
Cyclopean Coil? Yeah,
because it has life, it has attributes, and it gives you shock and burn immunity. You have no defenses on that build, right? You only have life. That's it. 1,000 armor and 2,000 evasion with your flask up. Kind of.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, you don't have anything. You just have a huge life pool, and insta pot. But yeah, I don't want to talk all the time about that build. You guys go.
It's a good build. It's just, can you play it on another ascendancy than Elementalist, or do you have to be Elementalist to make full use?
For single target, I feel you have to.
Right. Yeah.
The clear will be no problem on other things too.
Hmm. I think. I think for me, the only build I've been having fun with this league is Warb. Winter Orb is almost as good as when it came out the first time. It's that close.
You think?
Really?
I think you're just
Mhm.
glorifying it.
Nah. Nope.
So
it's
much-
almost as good as when it came out.
How much of that is because of the crown that gives flat cold damage?
Well, that's what. I mean, that's like 35% of my Herald's DPS, which is the reason that it goes 3 screens away whenever I touch anything. So, a decent amount, but you don't need an enchant or anything on it. Like, you can literally just pick up a base and it's fine. Pick up a base, throw a life essence on it. That's literally what my helmet is. It's got a life essence on it. It's got no power charge, no nothing. Just it's really good. It's really good.
What about enchant? What would be the best? Just so I remember.
It is still the best. +2 charge.
Stages, right?
That scales the trigger rate.
Mind
I
you,
haven't played it back then. That's the thing. So I never played that build in the end because it got wrecked
Well,
so
you just
fast.
never played it?
No,
You didn't
never.
play it at its height, and then you also never played it in
No,
between?
I was like hipster when it was hyped, and then I was sad until now, basically. Maybe I'll try it someday.
How good do you think Balor is if you what Balor is? How good do you think the build is Balor if you take away the headhunter and if you try to make it hardcore viable? Like ideally, probably not with double void batteries.
Don't touch it in hardcore. This thing's got 3k life. It'll never die in a map though. It can't. You can't die in a map.
Yeah, but obviously you wouldn't make it 3k life in hardcore. Would
Well,
it still
yeah.
hold up damage-wise?
No.
Okay.
And if you try and get defenses instead of offense, you won't perma-freeze everything anymore, and then things will kill you regardless. But it's immortal in a map because if one thing is frozen, everything on the entire screen from top to bottom, left to right is frozen.
So how is it exactly as good as before?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's immortal. It's immortal while mapping because everything is frozen. It's not tanky, but everything is frozen, and that's only if it lives long enough to not shatter and insta-clear the entire screen. And the cast speed is up so high that you barely even... I regularly was getting people asking, how is your Winter Orb automatically staying full? You're not casting it. How is it still at? But it wasn't. It's just that the cast speed is so high that I would just like tap it every now and then, and I would just like stutter step every screen or two, and it would just stay at 12 or 10 to 12-ish. And so it's insane. It doesn't need a headhunter. The headhunter's irrelevant. I showcased the build without the headhunter. Did the whole YouTube thing for it without the headhunter. Showed it doing maps and stuff. I have killed Cirrus 9 on it and whatnot. It's fine. It's got plenty of damage. It's just, it's a 3k life build, so don't get hit. Because what you can't do is perma-freeze Cirrus, although you can slow him quite a bit. It's pretty easy to dodge when he's chilled that much. But you can't freeze him, so he will still murder you. So just don't get hit.
Well, I mean that's great. So at least you're practicing your boss mechanics despite being in softcore. Lily, do you have a favorite build to highlight outside of the Raider EFBB thing? Is there anything that you've been playing and enjoying a lot?
This league I've pretty much only played that Raider Blade Blast build and Berserker the entire time. I do want to try Fire Burst before it probably gets nerfed next league though. I want to make the Occultist Herald of Agony again.
Yes.
Hopefully it's not terrible.
Yeah, feel you on that. Probably gonna beat me to it.
Yeah, I might do it after Gauntlet, depending how I feel after Gauntlet anyways. I already played Last Epoch recently, so I can't go play that after. Well, I could, I guess. There's one build I want to do
Did
there,
you
but
play it after the endgame update?
yeah,
Hmm.
played it like a week or two ago.
I see.
Forget when.
I heard a lot of good things about it. Like, it's apparently really, really good. The way it is now.
What
But
I've
Yeah, I
been
feel like a mix of Synthesis and Delve.
that's interesting that you say it like that, because I think Tenki also called it like synthesis done right, something like that. Can you explain it a little bit? How does it work?
It's like, okay, it is quite similar to the way it was before, but it's like now you choose, you get like a few options. It's like you remember the synthesis board? It's basically the synthesis board, except you don't have to find the pieces and they're already there. And then
Sounds
you
attractive.
yeah, it's nice. And then you like path the next one, and then it'll have certain mods on it, then it lasts for the next 3 zones or whatever. And then it'll like branch off into 2 or 3 more ways. And you can choose different rewards from each one, and some will be like give you better rewards, and it's like the further you get, the better the rewards will be. And then there's special nodes that are like either reset your board but add like a permanent bonus with more more modifiers on it. It'll give you like a permanent quantity bonus or whatever. And then there's a few other special ones that are like re-roll them all and stuff like that. Felt a lot more fun to play than the old version because it wasn't just so linear, click button, go next or stop.
Yeah. And I think the old version, it had a maximum difficulty that you could reach really quickly. Because like the longest you could get was like, this will last 7 maps. And then if you were lucky enough to get 7 of them in a row, that was the maximum difficulty you could ever do. Whereas this one, you can just keep turning it up. You can just keep going further away, add more corruption, start it again, go further away, add more corruption, start it again. It'll just keep, as far as I can tell, I'm not sure that it's not infinite scaling. Like, you can just keep getting more difficult.
Have you played it, Baker?
No.
No. Oh, right. I really can't wait until they add party play. That will be so much fun.
Hopefully the end of this year.
Yeah. I still I hate saying it, but I feel like the performance will be a bit awful.
Yeah, that's what
To
I've
be
been
honest.
thinking. It like if it doesn't run very good with one player, what's it gonna be with more?
Yeah. And already
doesn't-
if you have maps with a shit ton of enemies, you can take some FPS hits.
It runs 5 times as smooth as PoE.
Oh, and speaking of PoE, dude, has anyone else had problems recently? I felt like
Yes.
one patch ago or like 1 week ago, I had insanely good performance all of a sudden, and now every delirium, every ultimatum I open, I get mad stutters. Like the worst I've had all league.
Yep, like a week ago, like right before the Havoc Blast event or whenever that was last weekend, my performance was like the best it's been in years. I don't know, a really long time. Then they patch and try and fix something. This is what always happens. They try and fix something and then my game just dies. Like I've been permanently at like 40 FPS. Like I do a safe house, nothing's even happening. I'm at like 30 to 40 FPS.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a real serious thing. I came up with a joke to make about it where like I said, I'm not even practicing to get good at the game, I'm just practicing to not get tilted about the performance for Gauntlet. But it's too serious, I can't. It really hits me hard.
It got worse, yeah. Just as Lily said, there was a time where it was really amazing for like, I would even say 1 or 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, same. Really good.
I,
I mean, not as good as it was when Vulcan was added, because I still can't go back to Vulcan. I have to play DirectX because Vulcan is
Why?
always gonna. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. DirectX.
I
is
feel like
smoother.
it's super random actually. Like every single PC is different. For
Yeah,
me,
absolutely.
Vulkan is amazing, right? And then for you, it's awful, for example, and I don't get it.
Well, and it's not
funny.
it's not awful, but it's like definitely significantly worse than DirectX 11.
No, not at all. I get micro stutters on DirectX, which I don't on Vulkan, for example.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Like everybody also has different problems, I feel, with each of the renderers.
I never turn off Vulkan now. I used to have to turn it off every league because to do like proper tier, 100% triple delirious maps and whatnot, Vulkan can't handle it at all on any computer. But that content doesn't exist anymore, so there's no longer a reason for me to move off it. I just stay on Vulkan forever.
Yeah, same.
It's been really good to me.
Actually, in the start of the league somewhere, my performance was suddenly trash, right? And chat was like, yeah, check if something changed in the settings. And I'm like, I didn't change anything. Why would it? And I looked into it and it was changed to DirectX. And so I remembered this as being super bad for me, but maybe it's, patches away. Who knows?
Yeah, I was actually hoping when it was for the 1 or 2 weeks that it was really good. Like a week ago, I was like, hey, maybe it's fixed now, and maybe I can just switch back to Vulkan and be even better, but I wasn't able to. So yeah, if anyone's watching or listening, GGG, please, performance patch before Gauntlet. I doubt it now. It's so close, but like I really thought about, like, I legitimately had that thought several times, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna call off the Gauntlet and not gonna play because my performance is too bad to actually play it.
Or don't you have a streaming setup? Like, it should be better for you,
that's
right?
the thing. That's so mind-boggling about it. Is like 2 years ago, I was like 2.5 years ago, I was playing it while streaming from the same PC. I was playing the game in 1440p in 100 plus FPS, more or less constantly, right? And now I stream from a different PC. I play on 1080p instead, and I still can't get a constant 60 FPS.
But did they have circles back then?
Circles?
In maps?
You mean stone circles?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was streaming 1080p in 2013, but game changed. I don't know what they're doing, but and that was from the CPU on an i7 3770K. I have no idea what's going on sometimes. But as long as they try out stuff and it's good in PoE 2, I'm gladly beta testing this.
I mean, that's what we're doing, beta testing.
Yeah.
And I'm good with it.
Exactly, same here.
No, I mean, it's really a tough line to walk. I love the game and I love the amount of content that they're throwing at us, and I don't know whether I would be willing to sacrifice any of the expansions and additions for better performance. I mean, I'm happy to test all the new stuff that they're throwing at us. The game is so much more enjoyable if it performs well, if you have the feeling that you're not hindered by performance. I mean, it's one thing to not reach more than 100 FPS, but it really gets frustrating when the stuttering is preventing you from playing at your best. That's where it's annoying. And it's like always when I look at new trailers, I get so hyped because in the trailers the game performs at a constant frame rate. Because I don't know what kind of ungodly NASA systems they use to render the footage that they use in the trailers, but it's so smooth, and you're always like, oh yeah, it's gonna be PoE action hype, and then I see it on my PC, and it's just not.
To be fair, though, a lot of the FPS, since we're having lockstep, a lot of the problems are also with their servers.
Yeah,
I don't
true.
think everything is directly to your PC connected.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you use lockstep, then a lot of the stutters and small little lags, hiccups can be from the connection.
From Frankfurt, you mean?
Yeah.
Dude, Frankfurt. Let me not even get started about Frankfurt. But I don't know. See, the thing is, I don't know whether it's actually their servers that just perform poorly, or it's like my provider not giving me a good connection to Frankfurt. Because I think that's what it is. Like I heard from a lot of people that like just the connections to the data centers in Frankfurt are not that good. Like most providers provide you shitty connections to there. It's so
I moved
overloaded.
a year ago, nearly ago, or 6 months ago, right? 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
And it's like back in Germany, London and Amsterdam was unplayable, really unplayable. I showed it on stream, like 10 seconds lags in between and so on, just jumps every few seconds. And now I don't have it at all. So yeah, it might be the provider,
Yeah.
but I don't have that in any other game, so I don't know what's going on here.
True.
Amsterdam is usually great. Was the second closest to me.
I really like Milan.
Okay.
It's my go-to after Frankfurt.
Mhm. I
Italian
heard it a
service.
lot. I heard it a lot. I usually go to Paris.
Mm.
But yeah, Balor and Lily are like, what the fuck is even? What are those
What the fuck
servers?
is a Paris? Oh, what
Because
servers do
there
you play
it's-
on? Do you have a choice of servers? Is there like when one server goes shitty for you, is there something that you can do by switching to another server? I suppose in the US you got choices. Do you have choices in New Zealand? Australia? There's like 2 gateways probably.
I'm not sure it's an option I'm supposed to have. I don't know. It's supposed to just be an Australian server. But if you just type Auckland, open bracket, NZ, close bracket, you connect to Auckland. Even though it doesn't exist in the drop down box. So if you
So
No
it's not
way.
public, it's top secret.
you just connect to Auckland and it's fine.
Really?
I
Lily's
don't-
playing on tap.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a server we're even supposed to have. I have no idea. But
I'm gonna try this.
if you
Today.
just type Auckland, there is an Auckland server. It's just not listed.
It's not gonna run good for us, Baker. Give
Not
up.
have any lag.
No, I wanna just know if it works or not.
I don't know why they have hidden servers like that. There's one for Canada too that's hidden.
Yep.
Trying this right now.
I should actually ask somebody who lives in Auckland if it just defaults to Auckland for them. Like, are they connecting to Australia by default when there's a server in their city? Or like, I don't know.
It won't let me go to Auckland. It says unexpected disconnection occurred.
I can only assume I spelled it wrong.
AUCKLAND space open
Capital
bracket
A?
NZ. Yeah, capital A. No, I think
Yep.
I spelled it right. Unless I did a double space. No, I didn't. No, I think that I guess it just kicks you out based on how far you are. Doesn't let you in because you're so far. Because I can connect to Australia right now. If I want to. But it won't let me do the Auckland thing.
That's in the drop down list.
Maybe it's just for for NZ people.
Maybe.
Well, anyway, I don't want to play on 300 ping.
It wouldn't actually be good for you.
Didn't some lab runners do that on Texas to get better times? What
Get
did you
better
do?
load screens, but does that make you better when you're still like when it makes your performance so much worse and your input lag? Is that worth it? Auckland is only for the streamer client, exactly. Balor exposed.
think that's all of the topics we had anyway.
Yeah.
I'm now just excited to practice for this gauntlet. That's all I'm doing for the next week.
Are you decided on the build after all the build talk? Are you
Yep.
solidified in your choice?
You know, I'm doing Raider. I'm going Raider. It can't be that bad.
Nice. Let's go together.
Shit, I'm gonna have to do a Raider practice run now. And be part of the cool Raider boys. The effeminate Raider boys.
Let's go.
Nah, because I also haven't played the build myself, so I want to see how bad it is. I can't imagine it's that bad. Even the trapper leveling, the toxic range should be smooth as ASF, because I mean Trickster toxic rain is better, but other than that, I think Raider is a really good ascendancy for toxic rain. Doesn't get damage from the ascendancy, but it's so fast, and toxic rain scales so well with attack speed.
You know the worst thing about leveling a Raider? They don't get ranged attack totem at all.
Well,
Like the best way to level toxic rain is to have toxic rain and a toxic rain totem, because it's essentially double the single target DPS. It's what makes it leveling able to kill bosses way quicker, and it just doesn't get ranged attack totem. I don't know why.
You could do mines or traps, right? Or at least traps. You could get trap support.
Just drop it. Forehead.
Drop it like it's hot. No, I like. Oh, you mean drop the ballista totem support? I mean, you could just do library.
By then you don't need it. Like, it's just incredibly helpful through the first like 2-3 acts at most.
Terrence is starting a Gauntlet test league tomorrow evening, is what chat's pointing out. We already have a bunch of Gauntlet test leagues, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, if you guys looking for a fresh start, then probably wanna check out the German streamer Terrence _. If that is true. But
everybody knows him from his rips.
he's a cool guy. He actually beat me in there's a German PoE quiz that's hosted by a guy called Vicious619 with a really weird spelling of vicious, and he's been doing like a Jeopardy style PoE quiz, and I had the honor of being there already 3 times, and 2 times I won, but then the most recent one against Terrence I lost. It was really close though. I think it was like very close, and I got such shit RNG. I didn't know that the reduced reflected elemental damage on chest pieces for you and your minions was a Shaper mod. I had to guess. I was like, it's either Shaper or Elder. I went Elder. It was Shaper. There was some things where I wasn't sure, and I like just super unlucky with hitting questions that I didn't know the answer to, I guess. But I heard that Baker might be on there as well, or at least I don't know whether they already asked you, but I know that that's a plan to ask you eventually. Was that you, Baker?
Really?
Can you confirm or deny? No, it was. Oh, sorry. No, I mixed you up with MB. MB Extreme is already confirmed to be on there.
Oh, okay.
Next league. Also fellow Austrian streamer. That's why I did the brain swap. But yeah. No, that's gonna be cool. I hope that becomes really big and that they do it more in English also, because for now the quiz is only German.
Do you have to know the lore?
I think lore questions are a category, but it doesn't come up in every quiz. I think there was a quiz where I think the second one where I partook, there were some lore questions. But it's mostly like mechanics, item mods, map layouts, stuff like that. Like trivia questions, pretty hard ones. Like and one category is actually one of the coolest ones, is like silhouettes of unique items. So you get like a silhouette, like basically the unique item in its shape, but then without texture or anything. You just see the outline, kind of. And then in order to spice it up, he's also cutting them in half. So you only get like half of the outline. And I was actually able to identify Skyforth like that. It was super gambly because I looked at the boots. I was like, that could be any boots. But no, it's really cool.
That sounds
I
cool.
enjoy the format a lot. It must be a hell of work, but yeah. Anyway,
So when are you doing that format, PostChamp?
I should. I can't steal the idea though.
Well, you can make the English version.
True, I could.
Let's go.
Maybe I should talk to the guy and have him help me with it.
Yeah, can I yoink your idea? Thanks, bro.
Well, I mean, it's not really like a super original idea. I mean, it is fairly original. I want to give credit where credit is due, but I don't think like just having the idea gives you the exclusive rights to doing it, right? And I think also like there was a Jeopardy style quiz that was hosted by Deadbot Gaming God with Zizaran and Havok and another dude. That was also pretty cool to watch. But I think that was more true to the original Jeopardy style, where they actually did have to answer in question format. So the German one that I've been part of is not with that weird around the corner thinking of I have to answer as a question, but it's just the things that they adapt from Jeopardy is just the principle of having categories on a board and having questions with like value 1 through 500. 600. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Should do it, but like it's a pain in the ass to research for good questions. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do it. But maybe I'll collaborate on one with Vicious. We'll see. I do know that eventually there are plans to branch out into English. Okay. Before we end this and send the people off to have a good week and a good start into the Gauntlet, you guys wanna offer some last words of advice? So, we want to do a quick round. Like, what's your advice for Gauntlet people?
Accept your
Don't get
That's a
hit.
good one. Prepare to die, and they are prepared to accept it. Yeah.
you will die.
Don't get hit.
Quarry.
I'm Quarry, good one, yeah.
Oh, I hate that's real advice. It's a good
Yeah,
one
I
though.
hate it too.
Don't get hit.
Don't get hit, that's a good one. I'll do the classic one. I'll say, don't procrastinate on your thresholds that you want to hit. Don't procrastinate on setting up your flasks correctly. Don't procrastinate on getting that life value that you want to hit before you go into certain content. Because that's stuff that I've been doing in my practice runs. I've been putting off things. I've been like, well, I don't really need to roll the flasks now. It's okay when I do it later, when I have a little bit more currency. And no, it's not okay. You want to get the flasks. You want to have the instant heal. You want to have 4 defensive flasks if you don't need a mana flask, and you want to have those ailment remove suffixes.
Yep.
I have compiled a list for chat actually.
Classic meme. Classic meme. I'm gonna bring that onto the screen. There we go. I pop that out.
I think it's so true to every player. I only realized it's a meme when I read the making better builds, because then I was like, when someone posted it to me.
Wow, I zoomed so hard. Still zooming. Yes, Lily send a message.
Yeah, because I copied it from
he
my
said
chat.
He said send a message. Nice. Good one. Good one. Yeah. Well, guys, it has been fun. Thank you for coming on. We're going to cut off the recording here. If you had fun listening to the Gauntlet advice from Baker and Lily, and you have specific questions, make sure that you go over to Baker's live stream on twitch.tv/Baker and visit Lily's live stream at twitch.tv/DS_Lily. And of course, also say hi to Balor and myself, if you choose to do so. But definitely for the Gauntlet advice, stick to those top tier players and just watch us for the rip clips. And with that said, I want to send you off into a beautiful rest of your weekend. And we'll be announcing the next podcast probably during the Gauntlet. We're not sure whether we're doing it during the Gauntlet because it's going to be a 10-day event starting on next Saturday. We might not have a next episode lined up for the weekend in 2 weeks from now, but the next episode might only be on the 26th, and that could already be... Nah, that's like 1 or 2 weeks before we get the announcement for the next league, I think. We won't have any information about the next league at that point.
That should be a little too early for that.
Well, anyway, stay in touch. Make sure you annoy us about the podcast in our chats so that we keep you updated with what the plan is. And if you've missed the beginning of the episode, make sure to check out the episode in full on BalorMage's YouTube or on one of the podcast platforms of your choice. Until then, have a beautiful day, weekend, week, Gauntlet, and everything. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.
That's the first episode where my outro was more cringy than the intro.
Is it?